All right. Happy Tuesday morning. Sorry, I don't even know what day this is anymore. Happy Tuesday morning. Welcome to the Evergreen Advocacy Training Session. My name is Leslie Miska. I'm the Office of Aging and Disability Services Information Service Manager, and I will be leading today's training session. And here to support me is Lisa Merrill, ODE's Assistant Information Services Manager. Next slide, please. Participants in this training session have been added in listener mode, therefore the line is muted. However, we do want to receive questions from our participants, so if you would like to submit questions throughout the presentation, please find the Q&A icon on your Zoom menu and open that up, and you can feel free to submit questions ongoing throughout the presentation, and I will respond to as many questions as we have time for at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. During today's training session, we will cover the following topics: the advocacy dashboard, reportable event notifications, the advocacy review of rights violation reportable events, rights violation reportable events query, and the emailed report of the reportable events with a category of restraints. Next slide, please. Upon logging into Evergreen, the system user will arrive at the Evergreen dashboard screen, which is what you're seeing here on the screenshot. My dashboard is the first page of the system after login, and this screenshot showcases the advocacy role dashboard. At the very top, you'll see the persistent navigation menu, the white bar. In this features a few different navigation items. The Evergreen Trees logo at the far left will always return you to this dashboard page. Then next to that, you see the My Notes icon, which will open up a progress note, a note, My Note overlay on top of whatever page you are in the system at that time. And it will allow you to capture a note for yourself, a reminder for yourself, and save it to your staff or user profile. Then over towards the right of the white bar, the next icon is the messages icon. This is a feature that is similar to email, but contained within the Evergreen system. To the right of that is the notifications icon, which is similar to ticklers in EIS. And one of the ways that you as an advocacy user will navigate to your reportable events to complete the protection and advocacy section of that form. To the right of that is the queries icon. This is a tool that will allow you to input search criteria for specified form or module and get a list of matching results. And this is another way that you as an advocacy user can navigate to reportable events to review them and complete the protection and advocacy section. Next to queries on that menu is the help icon. This includes access to training materials and guides, a feedback form so that you can provide feedback to our vendor FEI systems or get technical support from them, and then the contact information for the vendor's help desk. And then to the very far right is a little templated picture as well as the user's name. In this case, in our test environment where I took this screenshot, I was logged in as the test user, first name advocacy, last name role. So that is where you would access the link to your profile, the My Profile section of the system, which will allow you to manage your own user profile, including your notification preferences. Underneath of that white top level persistent navigation bar is the dashboard tiles. For the advocacy role, the dashboard tiles include on the far left, the announcements tile, which has an orange background, and all users of the system do have this tile. And this is a tile that's managed by our vendor, FEI Systems, and it will include information that all system users should have. So if there's a scheduled maintenance window that's coming up and the system will be offline, or if there's a holiday closure and the help desk will be unavailable, or other notices like that will appear in this orange tile on the far left. In the center, you'll see the messages tile. This is the same messages feature that's available from your top level persistent navigation. But when you're on your dashboard, you can access it right from this tile, and you can see the four or five most recent messages right in that tile in the center of your dashboard. You can use the plus new message button there to create a new message, or you can use your top level persistent navigation messages icon to navigate directly into the messages module of the system. And to the right, your third tile is the My Notes tile, also the same feature that's available in your top level persistent white navigation bar in the My Notes icon. Again, this is a feature that is similar to like sticky notes or notepad. If you've ever used that on a smartphone device or on your laptop, it allows you to just capture a title and a quick note, and then it will save that in your My profile, and will also show you the recent most 5 notes right there to the right-hand side. So again, you can access right here if you're on the dashboard, or anywhere in the system, you can click on the My Notes icon from your white navigation bar, and it will pop up an overlay for you to capture a note wherever you are. Next slide, please. So I am now going to steal the screen share from Nikki. And I'm going to log in as the advocacy role and show you around a little bit. So please keep in mind that this is our test environment. So it may be a little bit slow, or it may misbehave in some way. So bear with me as I go through the presentation here. And also keep in mind that there may be a few little bugs or challenges that we'll encounter in this environment that we're still working through. While we're logging in here, so this acknowledge screen, all users will get that. It's just a statement reminding individuals of their obligation to use the data in a way that's appropriate based on their confidentiality agreements. So again, your top level persistent navigation looks like the screenshot we just went through. And typically what you will do as an advocacy user is you may set your notification preferences to notify you when you've received a notification here in Evergreen, and then you'll log in so that you can review the reportable event that came in. So you'll typically either navigate directly to notifications, or if you prefer, you can go through queries. But for today's demonstration, I'm going to start with notifications. So when you click on the notifications icon, it's going to bring you to the notifications page here. This is called a list page. It will bring in a new row for each notification that you've received. Once you've reviewed a notification, it will unbold it like you're seeing in these ones here. These would have been red. That's why they're not bolded. And then new notifications will be bolded if they've not yet been read. You can search in here by keywords. Any of the columns of data that you're seeing here are searchable. So if you type keywords in here, it will search all of these columns and return just a list of results based on your keywords that you've inputted here. If you select a row or all rows using one of these check marks, you can get an additional menu of items here. So the advocacy reportable event notifications are what are set up and considered group notifications. So all users in the Evergreen system who have the advocacy role will receive this same notification. And the way that you can manage those notifications and not duplicate work if multiple people are reviewing reportable events with rights violations and completing the protection and advocacy section of that form is to select the form and then choose this button, accept. By doing that, it'll ask you if you're sure you want to accept that. And when you do, it will apply your name to that notification as the person who has accepted that notification to complete that activity. And once you've done that, you can navigate directly into that reportable event by clicking on that notification. This will take you inside of the person's record for which that reportable event has been completed and submitted, and that triggered the notification for you to come to the reportable event and complete the protection and advocacy section. When you navigate in here, the reportable event form all the sections will be automatically collapsed like this. You can use this expand all feature to expand all of them at the same time, or you can open them one at a time, whatever your preference is. Or you can also scroll to review the entire reportable event and all the details that have been submitted on that reportable event by the data enterer. So again, I'm not going to cover this in great detail here because I did do a reportable events training session. The recording and the PowerPoints are available out on our project website, and you can grab those from there. There's an informational webinar, and we also covered reportable events under the case manager training, under the reportable events training session, technical training session as well. But you can read down through here the overview of the person that this was submitted on, the report ID, when it was created, what program they were under, who added the reportable event, all of the incident details, including the report title, incident discovery date, which is a new field in Evergreen, incident start date and end date, which are existing fields. And we also have the time capture for incident start dates and end dates now. That's also new. And the user can indicate whether this is an approximate time by checking this box. If the incident discovery date and incident start date are more than one business day apart, there'll be some additional questions that need to be answered by the data enterer, including why the past information incident was just reported. There's also a new field for frequency of occurrence. And then they'll describe the report here, just like they do in EIS currently. And then they'll provide a description of the immediate response to the incident just below that. They'll provide the location and an indication of whether that was a waiver funded location, the address of that incident, and then they'll provide some additional details around the incident. So they'll answer a question about whether emergency services were involved. If they say yes, they'll indicate what emergency services, a question about whether law enforcement was present. If they say yes, they can also indicate why, or they'll be asked to indicate why law enforcement was present. And then they can indicate whether the incident resulted in an emergency room visit. They can also indicate whether suspected abuse, neglect, or exploitation are, whether an allegation of abuse, neglect, or exploitation are suspected. Regardless of their answer here, they will, if they say yes, they will receive an on-screen message indicating to them that they do still need to report that directly to our Adult Protective Services unit. But if they say no, they won't receive that message. And then they'll have to attest to the fact that a 30-day provider follow-up will be required under rule. And then they will indicate who will submit that follow-up. They'll add the reporter details. They'll include any witness or participant details. They will answer the questions about whether or not the person's family was notified, the guardian was notified. If there is no guardian, they can choose this not applicable. And if there is a guardian, like in this case, there's a private guardian and they said no, it will ask why the guardian was not notified. Then they'll select their incident categories. They can select multiple incident categories on a reportable event. In this example, I selected emergency restraint and rights violation when I created this reportable event for this demonstration. The category of rights violation is what triggered the notification to appear in your notifications list. And the inclusion of or selection of these two incident categories has also brought with it the additional sections on this form. So because I selected emergency restraint, there were additional supplemental questions that I was required to respond to regarding the emergency restraint. So I had to select a type of restraint, indicate subtype for that, whether it was one or two person in this case, what restraint method was used in this case, and whether it was outside of the approved plan or not. And then I also had to indicate whether there was single or multiple restraint time instances. And then based on that, I needed to provide the restraint times. And then the system calculated the duration of that in minutes. And then it also asked me, did this restraint result in an injury to the person or the staff? And it asked me for what type of for the rights violation. It asked me what type of rights violation occurred. This is a drop down selection of values that are available to the person that are consistent with our current EIS system. So as an advocacy user, you've navigated in, you've reviewed this reportable event, and now you have the responsibility of completing this protection and advocacy section of the form. Now, I just scrolled and reviewed the whole thing, but you can also click this edit toggle in the right-hand corner. This opens up what's called the quick scroll menu, and this shows all sections of the reportable event. And you can just simply click on one and the system will navigate you directly there without you having to scroll. So I've navigated back up to the very top of the form by clicking overview, and now I can navigate directly right back down to the protection and advocacy by clicking on that. You, as an advocacy user, you do not have the ability to edit these sections. You can see there's no little pencil icon, and when I click on them, it doesn't open anything for me because you can only just view these sections, not edit them. However, you do have the ability to and should be modifying this last protection and advocacy section. So you can see when I hover over this section, I get the little pencil icon. I can click anywhere in this box and it will open up the edit modal for me. So once you've reviewed the reportable event with the category of rights violation, you can then go ahead and respond to these questions. So the first question is protection and advocacy agency response, and you have a drop-down selection of choices. You can accept for review and action. You can indicate that you will address in a current open reportable event matter. You can select technical assistance. You can choose addressed by another entity, or you can say not accepted. If you say accept for review and action, that's you'll answer the remainder of the questions. I was just making sure there's no additional supplemental questions for you. Nope. So no additional supplemental questions, no matter what you select. But if you say, you can say accept for review and action, that means you're going to then track this in your system. If you did choose, sorry. If you do choose technical assistance or addressed by another entity, You will be required to fill this protection and advocacy agency referral dropdown. But if you choose accept for review and action, you do not need to fill that. So you can see it's not giving me the little red asterisk here because I've said accept. But if I said technical assistance, it gives me the little red asterisk, which means I do have to respond to this question. So let's do technical assistance, just so you can see how this works. So for technical assistance, you can choose refer to ODES, refer to ODES unapproved plan or device, refer to licensing, or refer to APS. And you'll have the same choices if you indicate addressed by another entity. So I'm going to go ahead and say addressed by another entity, refer to licensing. You can then add any additional comments or information that you might have and want to be applied to this reportable event in the system. So I'm just going to put testing in here for the purposes of our demo, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and it will save your information here to that reportable event. So it's as simple as that to complete your protection and advocacy portions of the reportable event form. I am also going to navigate to while we're in here, actually, I also want to show, so while we're in this reportable event form, I just wanted to show how these tiles work for you. So you could, maybe you want to also save a note for yourself about this reportable event. So you might say, Leslie Test, that's the person record that we're under here. You can see that in the banner. And then you might say, maybe you want to put the incident date as the title, or ID 1003 or something like that, or the date of this report. That might be a little bit better. 1/22/24. RE. And then you might want to just say reminder to contact witness. And then you can save this, and it will tell you that it saved that, and it saved it under your My Profile, which I'll show you when we go to the My Profile, where that saved, and so that you can find it again. Also, while you're in here, you might think, oh, I should probably message somebody within ODES about this. Like maybe they said, suspected abuse, neglect, or exploitation, and you might want to notify somebody about that. Or maybe you need to um, ask the assigned community case manager something. So you can click up messages, it will bring you to the messages center, and you can do a new message. And you can search for the assigned community case manager, let's say. Actually, let's do it this way. So the assigned case manager is Jesse CCM. So here's Jesse, and you just click select, it pulls Jesse in here. You can say Leslie Test RE 1/22/24, and then you can say questions. You've got all kinds of different things you can do in here: bold, italics, attach a picture, bulleted lists, numbered lists, put a calendar, like a date in there, or a table in there, sorry. And you can even attach something if you needed to, but we won't do that for the purposes of this. And then you can just save that as a draft, or you can send it. It works just like email. So it tells me that it was a success and it's sent. So I can look over here and I can see that I did send that to Jesse. Jesse will receive that in his messages. He'll get like a little badge up here that says he has a message waiting for him, and then he can reply to me. And you can also manage this just like you do in your email. But again, this is all contained in the system. So you can archive this, and it will move out of your inbox, and then it'll show up in your archive. So that's how messages works. Next, I want to show you the queries. So queries is again a different tool than notifications, but it's another way that you can navigate into the reportable events that have the category of rights violation. So as an advocacy user, you just have the one query. Other users have multiple queries. Community case managers have a ton of queries. My role has all of the queries. But as an advocacy user, you just have the one. It's related to reportable events and rights violations. So you don't actually need to, it'll bring you right to that query. You don't need to do anything else. When you click on queries, it's going to come right here. And these are your filters that you can enter. So you can say, I want to see just developmental disability services, or I want to see all. You can check whichever ones you want. For the purposes of this, I'll show you the developmental disabilities. Then you can say, for what date range do you want to see these? I'll go ahead and just do January to today. And then you can say, do I want to see the ones that have protection and advocacy agency response completed? No or yes. So if I say yes, and I run the query, it's going to show me the one that we just completed because that one has the protection and advocacy completed. If I want to go back and run it again, I just clicked on that little icon that looks like a magnifying glass with a plus in the middle, and it brings up my filters, and I can just now see the ones that don't have the protection and advocacy. So this one looks similar, but it's a different one that was also unbolded, bolded in our notifications. This is another one that I had created yesterday before this training session. So you can also navigate directly from this query into this reportable event. So I'm going to show you how that works here. And again, you can expand to review all of the sections. You can open the quick scroll. You can go down here and see that this one is a different reportable event because, well, first off, it had a different ID, but it has just the rights violation category selected and just the rights violation additional question answered. And this rights violation was around nutrition. And then you can go ahead and edit this one as well. So that is how you'll navigate to your reportable events. I also do want to note that we will also be continuing to send your emailed report related to restraints. So reportable events with a category of restraint will be emailed to Stacy on the current cadence. And that will come in an automated subscription report now, but we will send it to the same email address that we've currently been sending the manually generated report. And it will look just like, have all the same data that the current report includes. The last item that I want to show you in the system is, again, your profile and some of the stuff that's under your profile. So over here, you'll click on your name, which again, in this test environment, I'm logged in as the user advocacy role. The first name is advocacy and the last name is role. And you can see here that that person is under the DRM organization and location, which is your disability rights main organization and location. And you can click on my profile, which will take you right into your system user profile. From here, again, it's going to look similar to the other form, the reportable event form. It's going to have all the different sections, but in this case, they're all expanded for you. It also does have a quick scroll menu, though, so that you can see all the different sections, and you can scroll to review all of them, or you can jump to them and quickly. If you have the ability, you'll see a little button and you can manage certain information for your user profile. So you can manage your own phones. You could add your office or mobile phone number. I'm going to go ahead and do an office one here as a test to show you. You can say whether this is your primary office phone number or not. If there's a note that you want to add, you certainly can. If there's an extension, you can add that. If it's a text telephone, you can check this box. And then if you hit save, it will save that. And then because you have the ability to manage this, you also can edit or remove this at any time. So you can manage phones, addresses, your email address. You're definitely going to want to make sure that your email address is up to date. That's how we will, communicate with you, and also how you'll receive your notifications if you would like to have notifications sent to you outside of Evergreen. So this notification setting, if you want to receive an email to your agency or organization email each time you receive a new notification in Evergreen, you will come in here, click on edit, check this box to say enable emailed notifications. This will now send an email to this email address, name.last@maine.gov, every time a new notification is added to this notification queue. Now, bear in mind that if you choose this preference, the notifications that you receive to your agency email will be very generic. They are literally just going to tell you that you have a notification in the Evergreen system and you need to log in to see that. That is for privacy, security reasons. We don't want any of the information about the person, their record, the reportable event being emailed to you. So it's very generic, but it will be an indicator to you that you should log into the system. Or you can just choose not to receive these and just log in daily to see if you have new notifications waiting for you, or run your query to see what's out there that needs to be completed. Totally up to you how you want to handle that. In here as well, there are some other sections that you have the ability to edit. There are some sections that you cannot edit. These will be applied to your user account by my team. And so if changes need to be made here, you would need to reach out to the information services team to have these edited. You can also see your system account and whether it is active or inactive. And then you can see your location any location that you're associated with. As an advocacy user, you'll just be associated with the one Disability Rights Maine location. And you can open this little caret to see what your assigned role is there, and programs if there are any for your location. This is also where you can set up coverage. So if, again, however you organize work for the team at the Disability Rights Maine, if somebody who normally reviews rights violation reportable events is going to be out of the office, like there's a medical leave or a vacation or something like that, and you want somebody else who's also an Evergreen system user to cover for that person, the individual can come here to the staff delegation section and they can set up, coverage for the period of time that they're going to be out. You can see there's already one set up here that's active. It was set up for a start date of October 16th, 2023, and an end date of October 16th, 2024. So the system is allowing the user KS12, KS1234 to log in to the system on behalf of advocacy role already. Now, I'm going to just show you how it works if you were setting one up new. So again, you'd come in here, you'd pick the location. Again, as a Disability Rights Maine, you'll have just the one location. And then it will give you a list of, this is our test environment, so it doesn't have multiple people here, but it will give you a list of all of the users of the system that are associated with that location. So all of your Disability Rights Maine staff persons will show up here. You'll be able to select which staff person you want to perform the coverage for you. And then you can put in a date range, and you can predate this, like you can forward date this so that like, again, if you're preparing for your vacation and you don't want to forget to do it, you can come in here and set this to start on a future date, or you can set it to start today, however you want to handle that. And then you can set an end date. Let's just say you're going on vacation for a week, so you just want somebody to cover from February 5th to February 9th, and then you go ahead and save that. And now you can see that it added that coverage as well. So you can have multiple people covering different periods of time. And essentially what the system will do is on this date, on these start dates, it will let this user now log into the system on your behalf and view the system from your point of view. And although that person is logged in as you, it will still track any modifications that they make in the system as that person. Now, Disability Rights Maine, you might never need to use coverage because your notifications are group notifications. You probably could just notify each other, hey, I'm going to be out of the office. Can you keep your eye on the notifications? And then whoever's covering would just accept the notifications and complete that. But if you wanted to track it in a different way, you certainly can use this. And you can see that because this is a future date, this delegation is not active yet, but on this date, this system would automatically set this to active. If you do use coverage, you will log in. On your login screen, you will see a choice screen. So it will give you your DRM location, and it will give you a choice of whether you want to log in as yourself or as this person that you're covering for. It'll just be an extra step that you'll see upon login. The only other area that you have here in the profile is My Notes, which again, during the demo, I showed you how we saved this note. There's already a couple in here. So you can navigate to My Notes under your staff profile, or if you had opened up this from somewhere else in the system, you can also just click on this View All Notes and it will bring you right here as well. This will give you a list of all the notes that you've ever created. It will allow you to edit a note if you want to edit that note. It will allow you to see some additional information if you use that caret. And you can add new notes from here as well. So with that, I'm going to give the screen share back to Nikki so she can bring our slides back up. So what are the next steps? So we are still working with our vendor to determine our exact deploy date. However, we're hoping to make a public announcement soon. So keep your eye out for that email. In the meantime, you can continue to prepare for the upcoming deploy by watching our rewatching the informational webinars, recorded training sessions that are out on our website, reading through the frequently asked questions that are out there. We'll also be updating that frequently asked questions page soon. And you can access the project website and all of the materials at maine.gov/DHHS/EIS/Evergreen. You can also continue to tie up loose ends in EIS by finishing up any reportable events that are in progress before the deploy date. And you can also register to participate in one of the 4 one-hour Q&A sessions that will be led by our vendor FEI Systems in early February. Those training sessions are posted out on our project website as well on the training page. And if at any time you have any questions, feedback, comments, you can also email us at evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov, and we'd be happy to respond to any questions that you might have. I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A at this time, so we will go ahead and adjourn today's session. This slide deck and meeting recording will be shared with meeting participants and the Disability Rights Maine. Have a great day, everyone.